Welcome back to Tokyo on Fire. It's an understatement to say that a lot has happened since President Trump has taken office. There has been a lot of finger pointing at Tokyo. This week, Secretary of Defense James Mattis will be visiting Tokyo. There's a lot to discover here. There are a lot of people very curious about what his gig is.
Well, the thing is very luckily, the Abe administration took in Mattis as their person in the final weeks of the campaign before the United States election. They received him, and they received him well. They didn't think that Donald Trump was going to win, but nevertheless, they treated Mattis with respect. That has paid off hugely, because otherwise we would have
And he pegged a hang in the hat on.
Yeah, well, Japan would have no one to be their advocate inside the administration.
This is an important one.
This is an important one. It's defense. It's something that Donald Trump will pay attention to and also will care about. Mm-hmm. And so, especially people close to Abe, like Kawai, his chief cabinet secretary, that has been the go-between between the Trump administration, those folks have a good relationship with Mattis, and they're going to have great conversations where they'll be basically supporting each other. What happens when Mattis goes back to Washington with his discussions is a big question. Certainly what we're going to see, of course, is what leftists here have always been saying, what will happen eventually because of the security legislation or because of Abe's historical beliefs, is that Japan will have to step up and make some very bold statements about what kind of security contributions it's going to make. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure that those security contributions will be Japanese SDF. It's not going to be any more money. Or what do you think about that monetary aspect that Donald Trump himself has mentioned?
Well, we're not talking about the pivot anymore. We're talking about America first, probably bringing some of the forces back in towards the United States and relying on the Japanese to take more of a regional role for their own protection. And that means the self-defense forces absolutely need to beef up.
But the thing is, a lot of people here in Tokyo also see that host country support, what is in the Japanese is called the omoiyari yosan, the sympathy budget, where Japan pays out a lot of the costs of the United States forces Japan.
By some calculations, about 70%.
About 70%, which is more than any U.S. ally pays. That's going to Trump's going to try to get more out of that. I mean, it's his view of the world, the art of the deal, mm-hmm. where you use bluster or bullying tactics to get more for yourself.
Right.
And a lot of people are very afraid that's the message that Mattis is going to bring. He's going to bring it in a nice way, say, this isn't me, but the man back in Washington would like to see some more cash. And that has people here, a little bit, wait a minute.
Yes, right.
What's going on?
Oh, there's a lot that's intertwined with the deal that we have right now. I mean, it's not just about defense. It's also about security. It's about a regional role. It's about supporting the United States, global policeman role.
And the thing is, it's how it's interpreted in Washington. One of the things that you see in a lot of the works of think tanks in Washington is that this plays into Abe's traditional view, his personal view,
complements it.
That Japan should be a more normal nation, that it should be able to have a defense establishment, that there should be a national defense army, that there's a military that has its name as a military rather than the waffle word forces, that everything is clearly post-war. We're no longer in the immediate aftermath of 1945. That was 70 years ago, and he started out his message at the beginning of the year when he made his first press conference at Ise Shrine, talking about it's been 70 years since. Yep. It's been 70 years since. And that refrain of that time is over is very, very strong. And a lot of people in Washington see that as the hook, that we're going to get more out of Japan because Abe's already on board.
Right. We don't want to intertwine too much defense and trade, but it seems like it's all lumped in together. A lot of finger wagging. You're selling your cars over here. Why can't we sell our cars there? This old rag has shown up again.
This is very, very strange for people who have been working in trade, probably, because they have to think, okay, we have to re-argue the whole thing back to, I don't know, if not the Reagan administration, then the Clinton administration. I remember I was working in an office here, and we were having to deal with the visit of Mickey Cantor, who was trying to get auto parts and Japanese companies to buy U.S. auto parts. And he came here with a Hollywood lawyer. I'm going to show these rubes how this is done. And he ran smack into the wall of Hashimoto Ryutaro, who later became prime minister, basically for his performance.
He did a fabulous job.
As media minister, he absolutely cleaned Mickey Cantor's clock and just made him look like a fool with that famous scene with the kendo sword. Yes, to the neck. Masterful use of imagery. And you say, oh God, they're going to send somebody else and he's going to get wiped out.
Sure. Well, you can imagine that, this sort of thing, it happens in a new administration. It was Democrat, now it's Republican. There's going to be a lot of changes. There's going to be a lot of mistakes. It's a steep learning curve. But this opportunity to single out Japan, I mean, the relationship has been very well vetted. It's balanced. And I don't think anybody's getting a free ride here. It just shows a little bit of American arrogance.
I don't know if it's arrogance or ignorance. But either way, it's going to be a hard slog. We have Toyota, which is really closely allied. I mean, Akio Toyoda is closely allied with Abe, getting absolutely torched in the usual Trump way through a tweet about how it has done its corporate investment, where it has to justify itself. And you're going to see more and more of this kind of extortionist kind of behavior, and that's going to play really badly here.
Right.
And it's going to be very hard for the Abe administration to respond to the trade side. Security, fine. It's along the lines that they've always wanted to go. They'll ride with that. But anything that in any way looks like some kind of extraction process, we need to get more from you. We need to get American jobs from you. That is not going to work, and especially in autos.
Right.
And that's the one area that Trump is fixated on. But let's face it, you can buy imported automobiles, and people do. They just happen to be German.
Right.
And if you're going to have a car that's way too big to fit down many Japanese streets, it's going to be a pain to get serviced, that you're going to have to go through the annual checkup, and it's going to cost you a fortune. You want to show to your neighbors you can afford German.
Right.
You're not going to buy an American car, and there are very few American cars that are bought. It's not that they're not offered for sale, but Trump is dealing with a mindset that was established, admittedly, by Democrats in the 1970s and 1980s, the revisionists, and he hasn't moved since that time. And it's a different world.
Well, people could also say it's not because of the cars or the steering wheels on the wrong side or anything like that. It could be said that it's the yen-dollar exchange rate. If they come in and they're substantially cheaper, sure, we'll buy them.
Now, that's one of the arguments that's being made, that you see that in the Trump administration. Also, the dollar is too strong. But even then, there are divisions within that government that are arguing, no, it's fine where it is, or it should be stronger.
Oh, the Japanese don't want to hear that, do they?
Well, of course, Japanese corporates do not want to hear anything about a stronger yen.
Or because maybe the criticism of the manipulation of the exchange,
or the manipulation, whatever it is, whatever the hook will be that'll get them. Because let's face it, they get a lot of their profits in the United States, and increases of profit under the Abe administration have been basically from currency devaluation.
Right.
That they get to sell their products in dollars. When they convert that into cheap yen, it looks like a fabulous corporate revival. Shareholders are happy, the government is happy, and it's completely fake, of course, because it's all just due to exchange rates, but they like it that way. If the needle goes the other way, they're their profits evaporate.
It's a whole new world, though. I mean, and we're trying to figure this thing out too. I think the whole jigsaw is being taken apart to be put back together so that maybe a different angle or a different vision of fairness is somehow reached.
I don't know if there's any point to the taking apart of the jigsaw puzzle. That's my fear. It's just taking it apart that I see a lot of simple vandalism. You just destroy what has happened before, and you don't have a structure to fill it in. The destruction of the TPP, it took years to get there. And you see that in the op-eds saying, what a waste.
What a waste.
What an incredible waste of human talent, of human effort, and just to make a point. It's not there. You don't have anything to fill in. Who's got something to fill in? China.
Right.
And RCEP.
That's true.
They're now in the driver's seat. Japan admits that they are. The Japanese government, the Abe government, says, RCEP's the game now.
Right.
America may want a bilateral trade agreement. Yeah, maybe. Okay, we're open to it. And in diet interpolations, so far in January, Mr. Abe has always said, yeah, we're open to that. But let's face it.
Right.
They've gone already through the process. The people who have done these negotiations, yes, they'll be ordered to do them all over again, but they won't be happy to do it.
Sure. Well, some people might say, I mean, at least a significant number of people, politicians included, have said good riddance. It wasn't a great deal in the first place. Too much secrecy, too much things that we didn't understand. And who was going to be get the lion's share of that TPP deal? It was the United States, by all measures. That's okay, as long as, it was spread out. And that was the whole game, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is, Mr. Trump, because he plays that security card, takes away the real tastiness of a bilateral. You can't have it both ways. If you are talking about pulling back U.S. forces and pulling back the U.S. president's America first, as you said, then the attractiveness of, sacrificing to get the U.S. to sign on to something goes away. It really diminishes. The whole thing about TPP was that it presented not only an economic package, but a security undercurrent that really China could not get entirely upset about. And that's so important. It's solved a lot of problems simultaneously. And it's just gone.
Right. The visit of the Secretary of Defense this week, 2 days in Tokyo, is critically important. The Prime Minister will be visiting Trump in less than 3 weeks.
That's right. There's that. They've set up a February 10th date. What it will be, they will be talking about. It won't be the pleasantries of last December. And
this one will be meaningful.
This one will be, well, the last one was meaningful. All compliments to the Prime Minister for making that shift in his schedule, taking the time to go to New York and meet with Donald Trump. There was a crisis situation. It hasn't eliminated Trump's anti-Japanese bias, but at least Mr. Abe is now on his calendar. And he's still a world leader that Mr. Trump
knows? I don't know, Michael.
will meet. I mean, look what happened in Mexico.
Yes, Mexico was not a great deal for the Prime Minister, but also going to visit Trump. I mean, the foreign ministry wasn't behind it. They weren't able to guess who was going to be the president-elect. And he kind of went there as a kind of a last gasp. Please, me.
Yeah, that's true. But the foreign ministry now probably sees, yeah, it was a good idea. They of course undercut it because it wasn't their idea.
That's right.
But now that it is happened, they own it, and they're going to be on board for the February 10th, where
better be.
They're not. There's no one going to replace Abe anytime soon. When they get on board, they're on board, and they will provide him with all of the support and information and everything he needs. And he's going to go into a collision,
right?
Because Mr. Trump has a vision of Japan that is stuck in 1984, 1988, or sometime long time ago. He seems to be fixated about things that, okay, yes, he to U.S. corporate leaders he complained, and they all around the table were all, we
were here before, maybe 10, 15, 20 years
This is before even I was out of college, man. What are you talking about? It was a complete disconnect. And of course, Mr. Trump is showing his age.
Right.
He's the oldest president ever, right? At 70 years starting out. He's not up to speed, and he doesn't have any idea. He just has this reactivity. And unfortunately, through Twitter, he has this immediate ability to affect policy. So Mr. Abe's going into a tough meeting in February 10th, no question.
A lot of confusion in the environment. We're watching this. We're reporting on it to you. We're trying to figure it out as well. Please stay tuned.